perhaps it's the Bastille we should talk about, because we're going to talk now. Michel Barnier, remember him? The guy who ran rings round Theresa May and the various British Brexit negotiators, hailed as this brilliant guy. Well, he has just become the shortest living French Prime Minister in the history of France. He's gone. He's been ousted in a no-confidence vote. He was brought in to try to save Macron, because Macron has this escalating financial crisis, fiscal crisis. Barnier's solution was a kind of fairly draconian budget along Rachel Reeves's lines, and he couldn't get the vote, so he tried to ram this through, tried to force his budget through, and the right-wing parties in France in particular, Marine Le Pen especially, have rounded on him at a vote, and he's gone. He's gone. Yep. He's the first Prime Minister to be ousted like this since 1962, and will leave immediately.
Yeah.
Bye-bye!
Yeah. I've never really understood it, how you fail as a French politician, because the French are very willing to tell you exactly what they like and what they don't like in a very public way. So I don't understand how the stuff like this ever happens. But you're right, it does seem to be like Marine Le Pen, and I actually think some of the more far-left parties as well on this have kind of united together in a weird and very loose agreement to basically bring down this Macron's government and Michel Barnier in a very dramatic fashion. I mean, they've been threatening to do this for quite some time, and I think this was kind of the final fall of the axe, as it were. But yeah, I have to admit, I don't really feel sorry for him. I don't particularly like him. And yes, let's remember that he was also kind of forced upon the French people as well. The EU have this old habit of putting their own people inside national governments. If you look throughout most of these European nations, it's always their own people seem to keep cropping up here, there and everywhere. And I think the French people cottoned on to this, and I don't think there'll be a lot of love lost to see the back of him.
Yeah, so his glittering career has ended in disastrous failure. And basically, Michel, you know, karma gotcha. What goes around comes around. We're really, really upset that you're in trouble. Well, we're going to try and get hold of our friend Gavin Mortar or someone in France to get the inside story of what's actually been going on there. But rest assured, France, really sorry to say this, is in utter chaos. Macron's project is an absolute disgrace. It is falling apart at the seams, and people are saying that finally, the French people may end up with Marine Le Pen and the right-wing government they've been voting for years, but the ludicrous French election system has this check. So the people vote, they voted for Marine Le Pen. 1 week later, they have another vote. During that week, basically, all the politicians, all the others come together, form a coalition and screw the right wing. Well, what they're saying now is Le Pen may finally have her moment. So yeah, she's there. She's already giving interviews. I can see she looks very upset by this.
Well, let's not forget, if we look at around Europe, you know, let's look at the German government is collapsing. You know, that's a particularly left-wing coalition, and that's falling apart as well. You know, these governments are just not listening to what people want, and it's giving rise to the very thing that the mainstream absolutely loathes, and that's, you know, principled and conviction politicians like Marine Le Pen. She might not be my cup of tea on some issues, but you have to admit, this woman has been pushed out multiple times of being the French president because of, like you said, the way the system works. It's designed to keep these people out, and the French people have had enough of it. It just seems absolutely clear to me.
It's designed to make sure that France remains moderate and centre-left.
Yeah.
That's what it is, you know, sort of liberal elite, like Macron, technocratic. But Barnier's disastrous failure may destroy that, and people are now saying perhaps Marine Le Pen's moment is about to finally happen.
If I was in the European Union right now, as like working for the EU, I'd be very careful about what they plan to do next, because if the German government falls to the right, the French government falls to the right, we've Brexited, the Italian government sits on the right. You know, they don't have a lot of friends left in national governments anymore. Now, whether that would lead to them leaving, I highly doubt it, but you'll see a reformed and kind of A lot of pressure put on the EU to start bending towards the more nation-state interests than international state interests.
I think if Le Pen takes over as Prime Minister, basically she will tell the EU, this is what we're going to do. You can like it or lump it.
Yeah.
You want to chuck us out? See if we can. Interesting times. So France will go from being the linchpin, along with Germany, I guess, of the EU to being a kind of outrider.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting times.